So there I was, sitting in my den of contemplation, lazily scrolling through the latest Netflix stats, when something remarkable caught my eye. The most watched show had triple the viewing time of the second most watched. Now, if you'd assumed that Harry and Meghan's completely not biased documentary was the most watched show, then you'd be wrong, because their reputations weren't the only thing destroyed this week. Their documentary was also battered in the ratings by Netflix new series Wednesday. And for you smarty pants that point out that Wednesday has 8 episodes versus Harry and Meghan's 6, giving it an advantage in the most viewing time stats, well, Wednesday wiped the floor with Harry and Meghan both weeks, and by a lot. So this small difference in series length isn't even close to accounting for it. If that's still not impressive enough for you, Wednesday even beat the all-time weekly record previously held by season 4 of Stranger Things. Shit. It makes you wonder if even Netflix expected Wednesday to be such a hit. I mean, they released Harry and Meghan around the same time, and we all know how much money they threw at those two for their story. I would guess not, or surely they would have spaced these two shows out a bit more. Anyways, let's take a look at Wednesday. Now, I'll be honest with you, teen dramas are really not my thing, and certainly not something I'd usually stick on my channel, but these numbers are balmy. That means a few of you lovely lot out there must have been watching this show as well. Go on, you can admit it to Big Dave. So what the bloody hell is this show all about? Why is it such a stunning success? And why do the media types keep giving Harry and Meghan money? Stick around to find out. Well, not that last one. That'll have to remain a mystery. Big Dave's Big Reviews. Now, for those of you out there that are more Katie Holmes than Sherlock Holmes, Wednesday is a show about the life of Wednesday, the teenage daughter of the Addams family. The series starts off with Wednesday getting kicked out of Normie School for letting loose a load of piranhas in the school swimming pool that happened to contain a group of lads that had just beaten up her brother, Pugsley. We find out that this is the 8th school Wednesday has been expelled from, resulting in her parents, Morticia, played by Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Gomez, played by the hilariously miscast Louis Guzman, enrolling her in a school for non-humans called Nevermore. That's an Edgar Allan Poe reference for you Katie Home types. The show obviously centers around Wednesday, played by Jenna Ortega, and her initial days at Nevermore. Think Hogwarts, but with edgy monster teens. And we quickly learn that the students belong to one of 4 specific type of monster. There's the Fangs, who are vampires, the Furs, who are werewolves, the Scales, who are sirens, and the Stoners, who are gorgons. We also meet Wednesday's roommate Enid, who is rather predictably bright and perky, in juxtaposition to Wednesday herself, making them a pretty obvious odd couple. Oh, Enid's a werewolf, all fur, but unlike her fellow werewolves, she can't wolf out. But I'm not down enough with the kids these days to know what that means. We see Wednesday struggle to fit in at Nevermore. She quickly develops a rival, and there's even an attempt on her life. We get some typical teen drama tropes, like multiple love interests, and a competition to be the most popular person at school. But there's also a subplot related to a spate of mysterious murders in the nearby woods, and Wednesday's effort to catch the killer. I won't go into the plot further, instead I'll talk about my first impressions. But before I do, I'd just like to kindly ask you to subscribe to my channel. I can honestly tell you that each subscriber means the world to me, and it's the best way for us to keep in touch. Right, so what were my first impressions of the show? Well, to be honest, they weren't good, and this was largely down to Wednesday herself. She's a nihilistic, misanthropic know-it-all, with more than just a hint of modern feminism. So you get to witness her moaning about the patriarchy and mansplaining, yada yada yada. She's also got psychic powers, and for some reason fights like a professional ninja. She easily beats up 4 lads single-handedly. It's fair to say at this point, the Mary Sue alarm bells were ringing. But to give the show its credit, this quickly gets subverted. We actually see that this is all part of her character arc, from unlikable gothic loner to someone able to open up a little and show a bit of vulnerability. The show makes it clear that it's not healthy to be such a loner and that you have to risk being hurt in order to create meaningful personal bonds, which is another teen drama trope, I suppose, but it's done well here, so it's fair enough. You even sense the show is gently mocking its own woke moments.
You're creating a story in your head and using visions to back it up. They're telling you what you want to see.
Are you mansplaining my power?
Jericho's most beloved and pious founder, Joseph Crackstone. And beyond is our privy, America's first gender-neutral restroom.
Which, for me at least, is a refreshing change of pace. And the positives don't end there. The show looks gorgeous. The sets are particularly well made. You really get that AAA quality feeling throughout. The effects and CGI are all top-notch as well. You can easily think you're watching a big-budget Hollywood film. And I'm absolutely in love with the musical score. One moment you get the tension-building violin arpeggios, and then the next comes in the booming brass section, and they all merge together expertly to provide a dark, gothic atmosphere that the show needs. The plot is well paced for the most part, and the dialogue is decent too. As for the acting, it's mostly good. The main cast are all strong, especially Jenna Ortega, but it's fair to say that some of the bit part students struggle at times. Still, none of them as bad as this lot.
Buy a rabbit, harping home. Turn this water into rum.
But best of all, the show features Brienne of Bloody Tarth, Gwendolyn Christie. I mean, who wouldn't want to be thrown around by her? I'd be her Jaime Lannister in a heartbeat, baby. In terms of length, the series comprises of 8 episodes of around 45 minutes each. The first 4 episodes were directed by the main man himself, Tim Burton, and whilst the direction continues to be excellent after he hands over the reins, I did feel that episode 5, the first episode Burton doesn't direct, had the worst pacing. So as you can see, there are a lot of positives for the show, which probably explains the latest audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes, which gives the show an 86% positive rating, and the viewing figures speak for themselves. By anyone's definition, the show's a massive hit. I don't know if you call this a reimagining or a spin-off or whatever, and I guess that's not important. What is important is that everyone seems to be watching it, and it would seem enjoying it. And whilst there's plenty that I really liked about the show too, it's just not for me. But that's fine, I doubt I'm their target audience anyway. I'm big enough and certainly ugly enough to acknowledge that a show can be really good without appealing to me, and I think that's the case here. Teen dramas, even ones as interesting and well made as this one, aren't likely to tickle my pickle. But on the other hand, Mrs. Big Dave loved it, and she's hard to impress. Trust me, I have a lot of first-hand experience in this. My personal views of the show aside, it's easy to see why it's such a massive success. It's highly polished, well written and acted, and appeals to a large portion of the avid TV watching audience. So if stylish, darkly comic teen dramas are for you, then give this show a go. Given how many people are watching it right now, it's almost inevitable that sooner or later one of your friends or family are going to ask you whether you've seen it. You might as well have a more interesting answer than, nah, not seen it, Carol. Given the huge success, undoubtedly Wednesday will be commissioned for 1 million more seasons, and it wouldn't surprise me if other members of the Addams family get spin-offs as well. If they maintain the quality levels shown in Wednesday, then they'll be raking in the cash for years to come. Hey, there's plenty worse out there right now. So if it's a choice between that or more shows like Wednesday, then I'm 100% Team Wednesday. And I know Mrs. Big Dave and millions of other people out there are too. Bloody hell, you've made it to the end of the show. Well done you. Now, if you could be a diamond and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, that will make sure we can keep in touch in future. Please also drop a like on the video and maybe even comment below. A bit of banter is always welcome. I'd like to wish you all the best. Until next time.